Good morning, everyone. This week's Torah portion is Shmini, which talks about the service of the Kohanim, the priests in the Holy Temple. And we know that at Mount Sinai, God said, "Va'atem tiyu li mamlechet Kohanim." You should all be unto me a priestly nation. What is the meaning of being a priestly nation? The priests are dedicated to ministering, to serving, to inspiring the nation of Israel. And just like the Kohanim from amongst the Jewish people are devoted to the spiritual care of the nation of Israel, every Jew is part of a priestly nation, and we are all assigned the spiritual task of elevating the world around us. And the greatest joy in life comes from being able to elevate someone else, to be able to inspire others. You know, an amazing study came out in Israel last week. Every year the UN for World Happiness Day does a study of the 178 countries, the happiest countries in the world. And last year, Israel was the 4th happiest country in the world. This year, they slipped to the 5th happiest country. Now that's very understandable because the study was done in October and November of this year after the attacks of October 7th. But just to give it some context, Canada is the 15th happiest country. The UK is the 20th happiest country. And America, the United States, which was 18 last year, fell off the top 20 chart to the 23rd happiest country. And the question is, how do you explain that a nation with so many challenges, especially after October 7th, comes in the 5th happiest country? And if that's not enough, within the study, there was a study of those under the age of 30. And under 30, believe it or not, Israel came in the 2nd happiest country in the world. And again, to give it some context, the United States under 30 came in number 62 in happiness. And the question is, how do you explain such high happiness levels in Israel? And the answer is obvious. Happiness is not going to a party and having a good time, enjoying some momentary fleeting pleasure. But happiness is knowing that you're part of something bigger than your own life. That your life has a purpose and a meaning that transcends your personal existence. And that's the meaning of the number 8 of this week's Torah portion. 7 is the 7 days of the week and Shabbat. But 8 is transcendence. When you know that your soul is connected to God and that you have a mission and a purpose in this world, that is the fulfillment of knowing that your identity is bound with God in a divine mission. When you know your purpose, when you know your mission, like Israelis do, and they know that they were designated to be the Jewish nation in the land of Israel and protect not just their homeland, but Jews around the world, this gives them a tremendous sense of conviction and joy and meaning and purpose in their lives. As a matter of fact, we find that when you look at the battlefield, you look at the soldiers who are going into Gaza, who are going into the north, you don't need a study to see their joy, their spirit, their confidence in their conviction in who they are. It's obvious that even though they're prepared to die and they know the real risks, they contain a tremendous amount of joy, because as Martin Luther King once said, if you don't have something you're willing to die for, you don't have something you're willing to live for. Tomorrow we are going to Israel as a group, 35 members of the shul. And once again, when we go to Israel, we get to be part of the Jewish story in the land of Israel. It's so uplifting. It's the most heartbreaking trip, but the most heartwarming, because you realize you're part of a nation that has existed 4,000 years, and we are a modern-day miracle. There was a hostage by the name of Sapir Cohen. She was taken into captivity, and she tells the story that a few months before October 7th, she had this premonition that something bad was going to happen to her. And so she went to doctors. She thought it would be a medical concern, but nobody could figure out what it was. And then she saw a card that said, if you say Psalm 27 for 30 days, you'll see miracles and wonders. So she started to say it. And then, when October 7th happened, she looked at the Psalm and she realized that it's all about war, and it even says the word Hamas in it. And she said when she was taken into the tunnels, she was saying, God, I know you put me here, but why? And then she saw there was this 16-year-old girl who was really frightened, and she was crying. And she said, I know why God sent me here into captivity, to watch over this girl. And she devoted her 54 days in captivity to taking care of this girl, smuggling food for her, cheering her up, lifting her spirits. And she said that's what gave her the strength to endure the 54 days. And that's what gave this girl the ability to go free as well after being released from captivity. And she told stories of how she would smuggle food, and then they were eating the food in the room, and then they heard the terrorists coming. So she said, let's put the food in your mouth and let's start doing jumping jacks. We'll pretend like we're doing exercise. And when the terrorists came in, they said, what are you doing? And she said, we're doing exercise. And the 16-year-old girl burst out laughing, and the food came flying out of her mouth. She said, this is what she did to cheer her up, to lift her spirits. And that's the way she managed to survive. You could be in the worst, darkest circumstances. When you know you have a mission, like Sapir Cohn, she knew her mission was to help this girl. Suddenly you find the strength, the courage, the conviction, and that inner fulfillment to let you be able to endure the harshest circumstances. Have a wonderful day.